Okay, my name is Julie Pearson Little Thunder with the Oklahoma Oral History Research Program at Oklahoma State University, and I'm interviewing Alfred Frejo for the Chilocco Alumni Association here at Chilocco Indian School outside of Newkirk, Oklahoma. Alfred, you attended Chilocco as a post-grad, and you also served in the 45th Oklahoma National Guard unit. Thank you for taking the time to talk with me. Where were you born and where did you grow up?
I was born at Pawnee, Oklahoma, Pawnee Indian Hospital, and we were there for about 2 or 3 years. I more or less grew up in Oklahoma City after that.
Okay. What does your folks do for a living?
My dad, when I was born, he went out to California to work in the shipyards. He was a welder. He learned how to weld out there, and then he came back to Oklahoma and he continued his occupation in Oklahoma City as a welder. And
How about your mom?
my mother was a homemaker.
Do you have brothers and sisters?
I've got 3 brothers and 3 sisters. I'm the oldest.
Okay. Were you around Pawnee language and culture very much growing up?
A little, not a whole lot. I used to usually spend the summers at Pawnee, visiting my grandmother and my aunt, spend the summer there, coming from Oklahoma City and then spending the summer. But as far as really being in touch with the Pawnee side, it's kind of small.
Where did you go to school?
Well, I went to elementary in Oklahoma City, Shidler Elementary School, then Capitol Hill Junior High, and then Capitol Hill Senior High. And then I had then I came to Chilocco.
What drew you to Chilocco?
Well, after high school, I guess I really hadn't made any plans, and my mother decided that I need to go somewhere where I could get more of an education because they didn't have money to send me to college or anything like that. So she enrolled me in Chilocco, and I didn't even know she did it, but she did. Yeah, but it was good. It was a good experience up here. But as far I came and took a trade.
What did you come and study?
I studied auto mechanics. I was in auto mechanics for 2 years, 61 and 62.
What was the hardest adjustment you had to make coming to Chilocco?
Well, in the beginning was being away from home. I guess that's the first time I've ever really been away from home. And I can remember going into my room and meeting my roommates, and I think just being away from home because I'd really never experienced that before. But I was a little sad at the beginning, but I adjusted pretty good. My roommates were pretty good.
Where were they from?
One was a Creek. He was from, I think, Henrietta, Sidney Lee. And the other one was I think he was Kenneth Callahan. He was from out west. I don't remember what tribe he was.
What was one of the easiest adjustments at Chilocco?
I think one of the easiest ones is, since I did come from the white side of the society, coming to Oklahoma City, and I was going to school in Oklahoma City, coming to an all-Indian school, that was really a good adjustment for me. I mean, it kind of really brought me out, because I was pretty shy at school, high school. I came over here and everybody was Indian, you know. So I liked that. I really adjusted good. It was really neat being around all the different tribes here in Chilocco.
Who were some of the instructors that stood out for you?
Well, we only had one, Mr. Thompson, yeah. Mr. Thompson.
All your classes were under him?
Yeah, under him, and Mr. Dye was his assistant teacher in auto mechanics.
Right. What was one of the most memorable things you worked on in auto mechanics, or the most memorable time you had working?
I think it was probably working on the teachers' cars, because we would service them, take care of them for them, and so that was pretty neat. Because sometimes when we would work on them, they'd come down and pick them up. They'd give us a little money, a little change, and that was great. Other than that, we worked on all the school buses and the government cars that we had around here.
Did you enlist then sign up for the National Guard at the same time that you were taking auto mechanics?
Yes, I think it was I joined up my first year. It was 61, I think it was probably around June of '61, and I joined up mainly because, let me answer that, mainly. It was, we didn't have any money up here. And so one of the deals is they were telling us, if you join up, you get a check once a month, because you attend drills once a month and for the weekend and then do drills. But a little extra spending money, that's really one of the main reasons that I joined up, really.
How many were in the National Guard unit here when you joined up? Do you remember approximately?
There's probably, looked like, if I remember right, somewhere around 3 squads, which was probably about 10, 20, maybe about 60, I guess, something like that. It seemed like there was 3 squads. I remember lining up, something like that.
So what kinds of exercises did you do in terms of training?
Well, we would go up to the armory and we'd do drills, close order drills, attention and present arms and all that. And I think we did some marching too, if I remember right. But I know we did close order. And one of the things that kind of stuck out is the bayonet training. That was
bayonet training.
It was kind of neat, but also kind of a little scary, I guess, because you did it because you were trying to hit somebody with the bayonet and hit him with the butt of the rifle. 3 moves, jab, pull out, swing your rifle up, hit him in the chin, and if that didn't work, then hit him with straight ahead with the butt of the rifle, and then come down with the bayonet, like on a slicing move. And that was kind of, I don't know, a little bit hairy for me.
Right. No room for wrong moves on that. Did you go on and do anything with the National Guard after that?
No. After I left here in Chilocco in '62, I went to Oklahoma City, back home to Oklahoma City, and I joined a unit up there. And it was a supply and transportation. It wasn't an infantry unit like here. But all of my training was infantry. When I went to Fort Jackson, both basic training was infantry for everybody, and then AIT, advanced infantry training, was the second stage. And then when I went back to Oklahoma City, we were supply and transportation, mainly setting up showers and supplies for the troops out in the field.
Oh, I see. So the training that you'd done, did you say at Fort Bragg? What was
Fort Jackson.
Fort Jackson, I'm sorry.
South Carolina.
Yeah, South Carolina. What was that like? That was boot camp? Was it sort of basic boot camp training?
It was basic training. And I remember when I first got there, I remember going there all over. About 15 or 20 of us joined up that time.
From Chilocco's?
From Chilocco.
Okay.
And then we all rode the train. We all boarded a bus, and they took us to Tulsa. And at Tulsa, we got a train. We went all the way up to Cincinnati, Ohio, and then went back south to South Carolina. And I remember that trip there because we were all in that train, man.
That's a long trip.
They had sack lunches for us along the way. And I remember we had a buck sergeant, I think. Sergeant, I can't remember his name. I thought I'd never forget his name because he was at the reception center. And he was all spit and polish. But
Did you have sleeping quarters on a train, or did you just you just slept in the seats?
Slept in the seats.
Had in new parts of the country you hadn't seen before.
Well, that's for sure. One of the things I remember is when we went to Cincinnati, we had a layover. So about 4 or 5 of us walked to the city. And as we were walking, we went through the low-income area, and one of the ladies come up there, "Where are you guys from?" And they said, "We're from Oklahoma." I said, "What are you?" The Indians? I said, "Well, you need to be careful walking through this neighborhood." So when we got downtown, when we got there, we all rode the bus back to the train station. That was one incident.
So at Fort Jackson, what was the hardest part of basic training?
Because I'd had training here at Chilocco, close order drills and all that with a weapon and marching and stuff like that. So I didn't have too much trouble adapting to that. But let's see. I guess it was a discipline because we were up early, getting ready, shaving every day, which I didn't do today. And then getting ready and then go out in the field every day, go out for some training, whether it's field training, rifle training. Every day we would go out training and come back in the evening and clean the barracks in the morning, but then come back in the evening and we'd shave and shower and get ready for bed and then wake up the next day and do the same thing over again. But it was a pretty good discipline, I mean, for me anyway.
Do you remember any of the instructors? Anybody stand out?
Sergeant Evans. He was a black sergeant, but he had real slow talking. It seemed like he always had a chaw of tobacco in his mouth or something because he would talk, "All right, you troops, you need to get ready to go out in the field now." And well, he had something in his mouth here and all that kind of thing. But Sergeant Evans, I remember him. And then I remember another sergeant, the first sergeant of the company. He was a short little guy, but he was all spit and polished too. And I remember when I first got off the bus going to our company, our assigned company, they were all in our face, boy, I tell you. Standing right in front, about this far from our face, telling us, "What's the matter with you? You need to look at you, you look sloppy. We're going to make something out of you, son." And that was really a surprise, but they were pretty tough. That was in 61 and 62.
Did you get to go off base at all during basic?
At basic, we didn't.
Okay.
No, I take that back. I think we did get to go one time, about the end of basic training. I think we did get to go 1 or 2 times. And I think one of the things I remember, and I know some of the other guys, maybe you interviewed them, but maybe they can remember, but this year was 61 when we all went, because there was a bunch, 20, 25 of us. I remember we went to town one time, A Company, 8th Battalion, "No sweat, sir." That was our saying. When we'd stand up, when we go out training, we'd all stand up. Then you say, "Ready, seats." Sergeants, "Ready, seats." And then everybody said, "A Company, 8th Battalion, no sweat, sir." And then we sit down. Anyway, we went to town one time, and I don't know, one of our guys got into a little scrap with another guy from, I think they might have been Puerto Ricans, but on the bus coming back. And when we got back to the area, they came looking for us at the company area. And so I got up and went out there, and a bunch of us went out there. But they left after a little bit. But a couple of times, and I don't know why, but it seemed like it was the Puerto Ricans. But we did get off the bus one time, and we got into a little shoving match with one of them. We went to the little ice cream stand that was on base. And we sat there eating, and I said, "We need to go back to the barracks, man. They're going to come looking for us." And they did. And there was a little squabble out there, out there in the parking lot. But I remember that. That was, I don't know, good or bad, but that happened.
Yeah.
We was drinking beer, and that's one of the things I think that probably instigated everything at the beginning. And they were too.
Where did you go after that?
Well, I went to basic training there, and then I went to AIT, Advanced Infantry Training there, and we just moved a company down the hill there somewhere.
Oh, same place in Fort
Same place,
Jackson
and
did the
then
AIT.
just in different barracks and stuff like that.
Right.
So,
What do you remember about AIT?
I do remember we were taking specialized training through the phony cave and the grenade and stuff like that, and the rocket launcher and the BAR and Browning automatic rifle and machine gun, 30 caliber machine gun, and shooting a pistol. All those different weapons we had training on. But I do have an incident. I don't know if I need to tell it, maybe I might edit it out later, but we had a lot of Southern boys in our outfit. We had a lot of black guys in our outfit too, and we were Indians, they were there, about 20 or 30 of us. But we came back one time from town, and this is in advanced training. And there was this white guy and this black guy that were out in front of the barracks. And one guy, the white guy, was really going on this black guy. The black guy was pretty husky and everything like that. There was about 2 blacks and 2 white guys. But I do remember, I was walking up and I remember this white guy saying, "You know where I come from? You guys don't even walk on the same side of the street as us." And I tell you what surprised me, the black guy just stood there and took it. And I guess, it was the 60s. And, but that really surprised me, and I think I kind of might have helped break them up a little bit, but that was really something else. I mean, that was really, I've never seen that in Oklahoma, but I think it probably happened, but that's the first actual thing I've seen.
Right. What skills do you think you brought with you from Chilocco that helped you both with basic and AIT?
Well, I think taking care of myself, taking care of my clothes, washing my clothes, and just being in a day-to-day dormitory setting, like it is in the military, it's a dormitory setting and all that, and getting along with the people that were, in your same dorm or in the same barracks. I think that was helpful. But plus the training that we got at the armory, before going to basic training in the AIT, I think those things all helped me out. Because I did, they have guard duty, and you stand out there, and there are maybe about 6 or 7 of us, and we do, general orders. My first general order, the sergeant of the guard would ask, "What's your first general order?" And then we'd tell him what it was. And "What's your second?" And they'd tell him. And they'd inspect our weapons. But I remember one time I was standing tall, and I remember I got colonel's orderly. That's I guess a plus still, because I got a 3-day pass out of it. So I was kind of proud of that.
Yeah. What did you do? Where'd you go on your pass?
I went to town, Columbia, South Carolina, and
that's the closest town to Fort Jackson.
That's the biggest town. And I don't remember if that was it or not, but I think at that time they had something going on where the people in town would sponsor a soldier, and you go stay in their house and eat supper with them and just kind of be friends, And I remember going and doing some person's house and their family and everything. Yeah, I think I did it at that time.
That's
when I got the
neat.
colonel's orderly.
Did you enjoy that?
Huh?
Did you enjoy that experience?
I enjoyed it somewhat, but I don't know. Just to be honest with you, it just seemed like they were trying to do something nice for the troops. They were, and maybe I didn't appreciate it enough, like as I should have, because I think I remember couldn't wait to leave. That's bad. That's bad.
So what happened after you got out of the service?
Well, let's see. I went back to
National Guard.
After 6 months active duty, probably about 5.5, something like that. I went back to Oklahoma City. Went to work. Can I tell you something funny about when I was in the military?
Yes.
Okay, at that time, they had some kind of program going, Rainbow Challenge or something like that. This is kind of bad. But they said, the sergeant got us all out there, and one time he said, "Okay, you guys need to save your stuff and be cautious of what you use up because things don't just come; they're paid for." He said, "When you use some toilet paper, what I want you to do, take that toilet paper, take one piece of it, go square, tear it off, fold it into quarters, and that one end that has all the quarters in it, tear that off. And don't throw that away, so put that on the side. And take that toilet paper and unfold it, and then when you wipe your butt, just stick your finger through that hole, and then wipe your butt, and then you use that other piece of paper that you had left over to clean out underneath the fingernail. Just take the other part of the toilet paper and just kind of wipe your finger off, but take that other part, that little part, to clean out your fingernail." And that was that was something that was kind of neat. I remembered quite a bit. That's probably.
Yeah.
But that's what they did. They told all of us. I think everybody on the base got that training to be frugal.
Yeah.
With toilet paper.
Oh wow, crazy. So after your active duty, you went back to Oklahoma City.
Back to Oklahoma City. That was probably 61. So then I went to work, and I went to work for Western Electric, worked there for a few years, and then I went back to school in '64 to college at Central State.
Mm.
And then after that, got married in '65.
What did you study at Central State?
Pre-engineering. I only did 2 semesters, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Dropped out, but that was my field, and I kind of got into that field after that.
And so worked in kind of
Well,
engineering and construction?
After that, yeah, engineering drawings, you know, mainly structural steel, buildings. But after that, I got married, and then went back to school again. After that, to Oklahoma State Tech at Okmulgee. Me and my wife, Pat, and then I took drafting and design over there. So that was kind of in the field that I was doing anyway, as pre-engineering. So after that 2 years, went year-round 2 years, tri-semester, and got that done. Went back out in the field, out in the private industry, and started working in that field ever since.
Mm-hmm.
And I went to work for a couple of places, then finally went to work for the federal government as an engineering draftsman. And stayed in the federal government until I retired a few years ago.
So, are you a member of any Native veterans groups
Veterans,
other than the
Pawnee
Chilocco
veterans,
group?
I guess.
Uh-huh.
I'm kind of stay affiliated with them because they have a powwow every year
Right.
to honor the veterans, Pawnee veterans, and other veterans also, white and
Right.
anybody that's a veteran.
Why are the Chilocco reunions important to you?
You know, when I went to Chilocco, that was really a neat experience for me because, like I said, I've been around white kids and some Mexicans and a few Indians at Capitol Hill High School, and being around that atmosphere. But when I came to Chilocco, it was all Indians, all over the place: Sioux, Navajos, Dakotas, Creeks, Cherokees, all those different tribes. That was one of the things that really impressed me, and I felt so at home here. I felt so at home, kind of like my village. My village, it was here for 2 years. But one of my best friends was a Shoshone Bannock,
Mm-hmm.
Norbert Jim, and my other one was Mescalero Apache. His name was Gilbert Balachi, and then a Creek guy named Wesley Taylor. He was from Sissaquah, or no, he was from Wetumpka, I think. But those are my probably 3 best friends here when I was here. Norbert and the other ones that I said.
Mm-hmm.
I forgot their name. Norbert, Gilbert, and Wesley Taylor. Yeah, they were my good friends. They were all in auto mechanics too. So we had some Navajo. We had some Eskimos from Alaska too. That was really neat. They were in auto mechanics too, postgrads.
Wow. How about when Chilocco veterans get together? Why is that important to you?
Well, I think it's because probably you have all the other organizations that are non-Indian, and they have events, things going on that they do. But with Chilocco veterans, I just saw one of my buddies that was in with me, went in, Jim Greenfeather. I just saw him a while ago. But you know, we can kind of reflect a little bit. Those that I know that were in at the same time, that's good to be around those guys. Some of the guys, you know, I don't have really anything to share with them other than the ones I was in with. And hey, you remember when we went to this and when we did that and all that, and when I was in the military. But that's one thing, I think, the camaraderie of the ones that I know. Mm-hmm. And the camaraderie of the one that I didn't serve with, but served also.
Mm-hmm. Can you talk a little bit about the role veterans play in Indian country?
Well, I think that they are, you know, that's one of the big deals among the Indian tribes is they honor the warriors. And I think that's one of the things is that the veterans organization, Chilocco Indian Veterans, we're honored, and it's good. It's good to be honored. sometimes I think, you know, a little bit for myself, maybe a little bit too much, but, you know, I'm proud of that service that I did.
What would you like people to know or remember from your story, or even about Chilocco in general?
I think the times that I was here, the friends that I made, the young lady friends that I've met, that I was thinking about this on the way up. It seemed like it was a village. It was a village, and it was good. I was thinking, you know, because as we say in the old days, you know, your own tribe, they were all there in that one area, in that one tribe. When you come up here, we were all Indians, different tribes, but it seemed to me like it was one tribe, all Indians. And that was good. That was good for me, because there wasn't really, I don't think I really I thought of their tribal affiliations, but I didn't think of them as somebody different. I thought of them as just another Indian friend, and I like that. I like that. That's good. And I'm kind of sad that the campus is going downhill, and I wish there was some way we could keep it up. But it's up to the tribes that own the area, and I think we tried to get that gym, that armory a couple of times, and I don't know how that's went. I was thinking about that on the way up here today. How we could get some funds to do a feasibility study to make that armory into maybe a place where we can meet. But maybe not.
Yeah, there's some work to be done. I think there's a good group that wants to do that too, so I'm hoping that happens as well. Well, is there anything else we should talk about that we didn't cover?
Let's see. You know, when I would go back to Oklahoma City after during the summertime and all that, and I would think about up here, it was such a unique feeling, so unique, and for me to be around Indians like that. And I've talked about that before, and I'm sure other people had the same feeling, but it was just a unique feeling that I had being here, and after I left, and just being part of the Chilocco classes that came through. I know we got a lot of different classes, but my class was special. 60, 61, I knew all those people, mainly the young people, because I was a postgrad, and I met a lot of the high schoolers and all that. Had a lot of different lady friends that were friends, and that was good.
You didn't feel like you were too old for them?
No, I was 18, I guess, when I got here, so I wasn't too much older than what the other kids were. But, as I think back, I think about walking into my room. First time I walked in there, and I remember trying to be a little bossy. I remember walking in, and somebody had I had put my bag or something like that on the bottom bunk, and somebody else had come in there and put their stuff on the bottom bunk. And I remember saying, I think I got this here first, and the bottom bunk's mine. So they said, okay, no big deal, But I think I was ready to be verbally, possessive of that bottom bunk. But it was okay, they just said, okay. That was Kenneth Callahan, I remember him saying that. But other than that, I think just being here and the beautiful campus, wintertime, snow on the ground, summertime, fall coming, the leaves all turning, having that fish pond out there, that was beautiful. I lived in Home 6, that was where the postgrads mainly stayed, Home 6. But I do think one of the things is, I was in there during the Vietnam era. I didn't make it over there. Can I share one more thing?
Yes.
Okay, one of the things is the Vietnam era, when it came on, I didn't even think, when I joined up, I never thought about going to war or going to shoot somebody or anything like that. When I joined up, I mainly did it really, to be honest, for a little extra money up here, because, we were poor and didn't have a lot of money. But I remember, thinking afterwards, long time afterwards, during the Vietnam War, how all those boys were getting. Every time I'd go home in the evening, I'd see the evening news, man, it's always covering that Vietnam War. Da 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 da. And the main thing I remember is that whirl, that helicopter, you know, it going like that, and then seeing all. Seeing all those young men. I'm so fortunate I didn't have to be called up and go and went over there. I'm so fortunate because I don't know. I think back after that, after that all passed, I thought if they'd have called me up, I'd have went. But I don't know. I don't know if I could have shot somebody. I've asked some people about that. They said, Al, if it come down to you then, you'd have shot somebody. But I don't think I'd have liked it. But I'm proud that I served, even though I don't know if I'd have been able to do that. I'd probably try to apply for some kind of a home duty or something like that. But I do remember that, thinking about that. Even to this day, I don't think I could. Unless we're trying to kill me, which war is. But that's just another thought that I think been thought about since then, being in the military. Yeah, being in the military, a lot of times to kill somebody. There's a lot of other stuff that you do, supplying transportation. Like the other one unit I was to supply the troops, fire, artillery. The ground troops is killing people, and that would have been hard for me to do. But I don't think I could have done it, but I don't know. It didn't happen, so I think probably come down to that I probably would have, even though I probably would have hated it. Anyway, that's probably about it.
Thank you. Thank you, Alfred, for sharing that.
Thank you.